Paulo Antunes, ESPN Brazil. With the way LeBron James been playing in the postseason, lots been said about him maybe even winning the MVP of the finals, even if his team loses. What's your perspective on that, on maybe a losing team having the MVP?
I really don't have one on that, actually. I'm sure LeBron wouldn't.
If you had a vote,
I'm sure LeBron wouldn't accept that. I mean, he's a winner. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think he's a winner. I don't look at him as a guy that would be okay with that. But I just want to. I don't know. I don't even know how to answer that one.
Robert Littal, BSO. One of the things that we've seen in the playoffs are fans being a little bit more bold in how they're approaching players. You had a great game last night. You had a couple of Cavs fans that out by your hotel, heckling you. What do you say to those fans that have maybe been crossing the line and getting in the athlete's face and some of the language that they're using when they're talking to you?
I don't think it's crossing the line. I mean, because whoever's screaming and heckling at grown men, even after the game, I think that's just pure ignorance. So it's like that's just who they are at that point. So I get it.
When those guys at your hotel last night, you asked them what did they say. Is that something where you're just trying to say, hey, if you're going to say it to me, say it to my face, don't hide it, stuff like that?
No, I mean, I just kept hearing somebody say KD, and I didn't hear what they said after that. I just wanted to know what they said. I wasn't going to do nothing. I just wanted to hear what they were talking about.
Gary over here.
Kevin, Gary Wasser from Boston Globe. Kind of off topic. Just want to get your thoughts on the one and done rule. And
great time, man.
The second question is your workout with Portland when you were entering the draft apparently blew their minds, but they still took Odin. What do you recall about that workout with the Blazers?
I think the one and done rule should be done. I think you should give players more avenues to pursue their career as basketball players. If they want to leave school early and pursue a basketball career, why not? I think it's on them to make that decision. If it doesn't pan out, then that's on them. But if it does, I think it's great that you give them a couple outlets to do so. My workout with Portland was I thought it could have been better when they were saying it was a great workout. I knew it wasn't as great as they were saying. But I figured at that point they knew who they were going to draft. They just wanted to just do the due diligence, I guess.
Tom, back left.
Tom Withers, AP. KD, you know LeBron as well as anyone. How driven do you think he is now to try to bring down this team you guys have put together? And do you think he'll go somewhere else to try to assemble a super team to bring down the Warriors?
I have no clue. I only know LeBron from just who he is. In our up-close personal relationship, we never talk about basketball, so I don't know.
Over here on the right.
Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. One of the big topics sort of is going around today is the importance of basketball IQ, the ability to think the game at the highest level. Obviously, that was an important deciding factor when you made your choice about where you wanted to go in free agency. How does that help at a team level in a situation like this when you're in these high-pressure moments? And, what have you seen from your team this year as opposed to in years gone by?
I think the experience just helps, just going through it. That trial and error is only going to make you a better player. We got a lot of guys that got a lot of experience in the NBA, especially after the playoff run last year. And then we added, having Nick, an 11-year veteran who's been through so much, play with some great players. Then you bring in a guy like Quinn, who's still, figuring his way out in the league, but understands what hard work is. So you just got different journeys for different guys, and they provide just a different perspective. And I think that's what makes up a great team.
All the way in the back.
Kelly Johnson, NBC Sports Bay Area. Kevin, I was talking to Draymond about just how much he loves to play defense and how he continues to find ways to leave his imprint on the game. I'm curious, what is it like playing with Draymond on the defensive end of the floor, his intensity, his expectations, his communication? Have you ever played with anybody quite like him?
I play with guys with guys with that same type of intensity, but his talent and feel is different. His feel for just knowing what to do is 2 or 3 plays ahead. But on the defensive side of the ball, you just want somebody that you can trust and then somebody that you know that's going to go to war with you. And that's something going into a game I don't even think about with Draymond. I just know it's going to happen with him. And just having that trust and that somebody that you know is going to be there, you don't even have to worry about that side of it. You can just focus on something else. So it's different when you got to worry about if somebody going to come to war. Draymond is just always ready. Always ready, I'm sorry.
Connor?
Kevin, Connor Letourneau, San Francisco Chronicle. What has LeBron meant to you in your career, and what has it meant to you to be able to face him on this stage for several times now?
What he's meant to me, I just think I don't know about that one. I think somebody that you can always look at, and when you're working out and strive to be better than, and strive to kind of go through the same experiences as somebody like that, looked at as one of the top 5 greatest players to ever play the game and playing in the same era. That's rare, to have a player like that playing at the same time you are. So you watching tendencies, movements, you watching, just actions on the basketball court. He talks to his teammates, you just watching through from afar. And, try to pick up some things because he's a little older. So I think in that way, just, same way I looked at Kobe and Tim Duncan and those guys, just who are at the elite level, who've experienced more, you just try to learn from by just watching from afar. I think LeBron's been a good model when it comes to that. But just being able to play against somebody at the highest stage, the highest level, just brings out the best in both of us. It just makes the games better.
Shelley, towards the back.
Shelley Smith from ESPN. In what way is this team more locked in right now than it was last year?
It's different, man. I keep telling people it's just a different vibe. I mean, because we've been through a season with each other already as champions, going through a whole season. So, we know exactly what we need to do in order for us to win. And, so we want to do that, focus on that as much as possible. And the emotions and all of that stuff doesn't really matter. We just try to play a solid, focused game, and we'll figure out how to feel afterwards. So we just try to, it's just different. It's like I told someone earlier. I think Kanye West's first album is his best one because I didn't hear an album from him before. So the first one is always a little different, but he has some great music after that as well. So I feel like we're in that transition from having a great first year, but figuring out different ways to be good in the second year. So, if that makes sense.
Yeah, JaVale McGee called it a beautiful thing.
Oh, definitely. If you listen to JaVale, he has all the answers.
Last 2 questions on the left side.
Kevin, Brad Watkins, CBS Sports. Steve talked last night about how decisive you were with the ball. Is that a conscious decision on your part going into the game, or is that more how they're defending you and the fact that Steph and Clay were both off by their standards?
I just know when I rush, I'm not as good as I want to be. If I take my time and be patient, I can dictate and control everything. So I'd rather control everything than be, reacting to someone else out there. So I just try to be as patient as I could, but still, be strong with the basketball.
Is that a tough balance to stay patient when you know that kind of the longer you do hold the ball, or anyone holds the ball for that matter, things do bog down? Is that a tough balance to be patient and decisive at the same time?
Nah, because when we throw the ball into Draymond, we still move, we still cut. So I expect the same when I get the ball, and my teammates do that. So as long as I hold the ball, if everybody keeps moving, if I don't find nothing, then I can go to work.
Melissa, last question.
Melissa Rowland, Barrier News Group. LeBron was talking about how the challenge around the league is not only to find a group of guys as skilled as the Warriors, but as intelligent as the Warriors. Is intelligence kind of a less appreciated aspect in a locker room? And what's it like being in the Warriors locker room in terms of everybody's collective IQ?
I think as basketball players, we should all be offended if intelligence isn't the first thing you think about when you're looking at basketball players. I compare us to musicians. I compare us to artists, to architects, to surgeons. I compare us to the highest at any field because what we do is hard. We're one percenters in the world. So when you walk into any locker room in the NBA, I expect you to think that all of these guys are intelligent at what they do, and I think that's a underrated trait from somebody outside of the league, from outside of the locker rooms, because they don't realize how hard the game is, I think, sometimes. But, you know, it's hard to find intelligence, character, unselfishness all at the same time. And that's rare in any profession, I think.
Thank you.
Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. There's always so much conversation about the Warriors' offense, but what is it that makes their defense unique?
Draymond. Draymond is the catalyst and the anchor for their defense. Very, very smart defensively. He knows pretty much every set, and you know, he kind of flies around and dictates their defense, either on the perimeter or protecting the rim as well.
Joe in the front.
Joe Varden, Cleveland.com. When this happened, you mentioned the trades, and when it happened, there wasn't much said by either of you. Do you ever look back now and wish that you still had Dwayne?
Well, absolutely. I mean, listen, from not only from a brotherhood aspect and what we know about one another, but and also from an experience, factor. I believe that he would have been very, very good for us in the postseason. You know, he's a guy who's kind of built for the postseason at this point in his career, who lives for the moment. So you definitely think about that. And it seems so long ago that he was even a part of his ball club. But definitely think about it from time to time.
Dave in the front again.
Dave McMenamin, ESPN. There's maximum 4 more games to the season for you guys, and I know you're a live in the moment type of guy, but when you look back at the 2017-18 season, what makes you feel good about the Cleveland Cavaliers and what you guys did?
It's too hard for me to answer right now. Like I said, I can answer that once this series is over. Like I told you guys before, this has been one of the most challenging seasons of my career from a standpoint of what's been going on with our ball club, not only from a playing perspective, but things, guys changing, personnel's changing, our coach being out for a couple of weeks, players leaving, being out for a couple of weeks, injuries, things of that nature. I was having a very great couple months and not playing so well, and trades happening, things of that nature. So I go in more in detail once this series is over, but it's been 3 or 4, maybe 4 or 5, seasons wrapped in one. That's for sure.
It's a completely different direction, but you said the other day when you were on FaceTime with Zuri, your eye freaked her out. Does it freak you out? Like when you look in the mirror, it's still as bright as the YouTube symbol.
Yeah. It's weird. It's weird seeing it. Hopefully it'll go away soon, but it is what it is. It's part of a war wound, and that's what happens when you're in a war. Sometimes you get some injuries, but it hasn't stopped me from preparing. But it's different.
Tim, all the way in the back row.
Tim Reynolds with the AP. Bron, 2 questions. One, all the way back here. Golden State this year. This has been probably the hardest of the 4 years for them, just because they were dealing with some doubt for the first time. Steph got hurt late. Obviously, they got challenged big time in the West Finals. As a fan of the game, as a student of the game, what have they shown you just as far as their toughness, their resiliency this year that really wasn't called on a whole lot in 15 and 17?
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, you can never count on a champion, no matter what's going on throughout the course of their season. I mean, it's impossible to do that because they're just built from a different cloth, and I know that firsthand. When you win a championship and you're around guys for a long period of time and you know what you're all capable of doing, all you need is to get healthy. And if you can get healthy and guys are playing at the right level at the same time, then you can feel like you can beat anybody. So the best thing about their team is that if one of their stars go down, they have 2 or 3 other stars that's still able to, to hold the ship until everybody get back. And with Steph's injury, him going down, KD and Clay, who never misses a game, and Draymond still being in the lineup. If you look at the previous, time where KD went down, the rest of those guys were in, and held it until KD came back for the playoffs the year before that. So when you have the luxury of not being pressured to come back so fast, and even with Iguodala, him not being pressured to feel like he needs to get back on the floor to help the team win, that the guys are going to continue to play well. And whenever you're ready, we'll be ready for you to join. I think it helps the injury as well, because you're not putting that much pressure on you. So you can never count out a champion at the end of the day, no matter how vulnerable people may seem, or people think they may be, or if they hit some adversity. I think it's all part of the process.
And a non-finals one, I apologize, but it's not uncommon to see you courtside when Bronny's playing. Of course, what's that process been like for you, watching him develop? And obviously there's got to be some burdens on him being LeBron James Jr., of course, but what's it been like for you watching him grow, just not as a player but as a dad?
It's been a treat to watch, being a parent and seeing my son grow, and from a basketball player, but not only that, from being a young man who he is today. The kid will be 14 soon, and just seeing him grow and grow and grow to become who he is today has been a treat. I think from the burden and from him having the name itself, I think him understanding that just go out and just play the game and have fun and play for your teammates and give it all you got. You play hard, you play smart, and have fun, and then let everything else take care of itself. The one thing that I have the luxury of knowing everything that he can expect. There's nothing that can hit him that I haven't seen in my life. There's no obstacles that I have that he will run into that I haven't been a part of, that I can't coach him. But at the end of the day, he's still going to have to, live his own life and find his own path. So, but I hope he turns off his comments on social media. That'd be the smartest thing he can do.
Over here on the right side, third row.
Valeria Rubino, Viaggio Sport, Corriere della Sera. How does the outcome of these 3 games impact your love for competition and your mental approach to a challenge that has become even bigger now?
No, listen, every competition, I love to compete. And, at the end of the day, no matter win, lose, or draw, being a part of the biggest stage in our sport is something that I've always loved and never, taken for granted. So, my love of the game continues to get, bigger and bigger and greater, and hopefully my game and my health can continue to be at a level that it is today for some years to come.
Ramona in the back left.
Hi, Ramona Shelburne, ESPN. Kevin Love said after game 1 that you've said to him, this is the best you've ever felt. You've obviously played in every game. How much of a source of pride is that to you to have played this many games and at this level? And also, is this the best you've ever felt physically?
I think in the simple fact that, to be available to my teammates every single night and them knowing that I will be in uniform, that's the pride factor right there that I don't take for granted, and that's something I take a lot of pride on, just working my body every single day, no matter if it's a win, if it's a loss, no matter if we're getting in at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, just waking up that next day and doing something, either from a treatment side or lifting or conditioning or shooting, and just preparing myself for the long journey. I just feel like I'm in a great groove right now as far as my career, as far as my body, knowing, what I need to do to be in the best possible shape. And like I stated, I said this at one point throughout this playoff run that I had a walk-off with Cassidy Hubbard after a game, and I told her it's the best I felt, in my career, and she kind of gave me one of those Cassidy looks, and I got some response from that, but I was very truthful about it, and I still feel good, even with turning my ankle last night, with getting a finger jammed into my eye and taking the the bumps and bruises and grinds throughout this playoff series, I still feel like I'm excited to put on the uniform tomorrow. So, yeah.
As a quick follow-up on the ankle, the TV cameras kind of caught you, like, turning it, like, putting it back into place or something like that. Did you like, fix your ankle on the court?
I don't. I'm a little weird. That's all. It's a little weird.